in a severely degraded region of Brazil. Scientists collected data from camera traps and discovered a phenomenon that breaks every ecological rule. Before them was a dead land, soybean plantations that had been compacted and depleted for 20 years. Every predictive model confirmed that this land would need at least 50 years to revive. And yet, what the camera traps recorded left researchers astonished. Clusters of native trees were growing powerfully at dense levels, forming straight lines across the barren fields. No human intervention, no seed drill, no irrigation system. Every trace led back to one single creature, an animal with unusually long legs and bright red fur. It was not merely passing through, but silently carrying out a large-scale ecological reconstruction campaign that humans had never imagined. Why would a predator spend half its life planting forests? And what strange power inside its stomach is saving the water supply of an entire continent? The Cerrado is the most diverse tropical savanna on the planet, an 80-million-year-old ecological system. But it has one secret: 2/3 of its life lies underground. Scientists call this the upside-down forest. Root systems piercing 15 meters deep into the ground act like a biological machine, regulating the water supply for all of South America. Over the past 50 years, a large-scale invasion has taken place. The expansion of soybean cultivation has wiped out more than half of the native vegetation. In recent years, the rate of forest loss here has even surpassed the Amazon. When tree roots are pulled out, underground water veins stop flowing, and billions of tons of carbon are released into the atmosphere. The latest monitoring reports from Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, INPE, show a serious reality. In the most recent cycle alone, the Cerrado lost forest area equivalent to 150 soccer fields every hour. Unlike the Amazon rainforest, where deforestation is often closely watched internationally, the Cerrado is being destroyed silently because it does not have giant tree canopies to catch the eye of satellites. This is a region heavily impacted by the global economy, supplying 15% of the world's soybean production, but paying for it by destroying the oldest carbon storage network in South America. The consequences do not stop at the surface. When soil layers 15 meters deep are plowed up, the continent's natural water filtration system becomes paralyzed. The Guarani Aquifer, the freshwater supply for 300 million people, is dropping at a record level of 0.5 meters each year in intensive soybean farming areas. Losing the Cerrado means pushing downstream regions into a water security crisis that could last for centuries. Did you know that most of this soybean supply is used to feed global livestock? Every time you see an empty land area on Google Earth, it may be the price of an industrial supply chain. Leave the number 1 in the comments if you think humans have crossed the line with nature, or the number 0 if you believe the economy is more important than conservation. We want to know your viewpoint on this survival battle. But just when humans thought they had completely occupied it, the grassland began finding a way to heal itself in a way no engineer could ever design. In the darkness of the soybean plantations, a mysterious creature appears. It is the maned wolf, Chrysocyon brachyurus, standing 90 centimeters at the shoulder, with giant ears like radar dishes. It looks like a fox that evolved with very long legs to see through layers of tall grass. Its long legs are not for running fast. In fact, the maned wolf runs rather poorly compared with other species in the dog family. They are a product of convergent evolution, adapted to the tall grasslands of South America, giving it a superior field of vision, like a mobile observation point. But anatomical structure is only the surface of a strange biological machine. But this is the truly astonishing discovery for biologists. This wolf is not a pure killer. 50% of its diet is fruit, especially the Lobeira fruit, also known as the wolf apple. These green apples, as large as grapefruits, are filled with native seeds as hard as stone. In the natural world, the relationship between the maned wolf and the Lobeira tree, Solanum lycocarpum, is a life-sustaining symbiosis. The Lobeira tree provides water and nutrients for the wolf during the dry season. In return, the wolf serves as the only seed dispersal agent capable of crossing long distances. However, the greatest challenge is that the Lobeira seed coat is extremely durable. If it simply falls to the ground, the seed enters a dormant state lasting decades because it cannot break through the coat to absorb water. Under natural conditions, Lobeira seeds have a germination rate below 1%. They lie still in the dry ground of Brazil, waiting for an external impact that never comes. And yet, when they pass through the digestive system of the maned wolf, an important chemical process occurs. The wolf's strong stomach acid does not destroy the seeds. On the contrary, it performs a surface treatment process, wearing down the rigid protective coat while keeping the embryo inside intact. Direct measurement data from Rahel Solman's team shows that seeds taken from wolf scat have a germination rate of up to 62%. Recent in-depth studies have discovered that the maned wolf's stomach contains specific enzymes capable of breaking down the protective polymer layer on the Lobeira seed coat, something even the extreme heat from grassland fires cannot do. Without the thermal and chemical treatment process inside this animal's body, the Lobeira tree is practically a plant that has lost its ability to reproduce. The wolf is not just eating fruit, it is operating a biological seed processing system inside its belly, then transporting those seeds across the grassland within a range of 80 square kilometers. Each night, one wolf can plant an average of 2,500 seeds that have been activated for growth. This is a gigantic number compared with any artificial reforestation project currently being deployed in Brazil. But the truth is even more surprising than that. Having good seeds is not enough to regenerate a devastated grassland. Seeds need good soil and protection. And this is when the third link appears: add a leafcutter ants. Normally, wolves and ants have nothing in common. But in the battle to restore the Cerrado, they form an extremely tight biological alliance. The maned wolf has a habit of marking its territory by defecating directly on the raised mounds of ants. Why ant mounds? For the maned wolf, these raised mounds are the ideal scent dispersal locations to assert territorial ownership. But for leafcutter ants, wolf scat is not waste, it is a nutrient resource. For the ant colony, wolf scat is full of valuable organic fragments they use to feed fungus in their underground nest. They drag the wolf scat deep underground. Here, an underground seed nurturing system is formed with ideal environmental conditions for germination. Lobeira seeds that have been processed by digestive enzymes are wrapped in soil rich in microorganisms, increasing their growth potential compared with outside conditions. Analyses show that mineral concentrations here are very high, providing essential nutrients for seedlings from the earliest stage. The ant colony unintentionally becomes soil improvement engineers, building germination environments right underground. They protect seeds from rodents and birds until the plants are large enough to protect themselves. When the seeds germinate, the ants push the young plants out of the nest as a way of cleaning the colony. The result? Clusters of Lobeira trees grow exactly at the wolf's scent marking stations, nurtured by the ventilation system of the ant nest. The combination of a large predator, a shrub species, and an insect colony has created oases of life right in the middle of exhausted soybean fields. Scientists observed a fascinating phenomenon in abandoned lands. Lobeira trees grow in perfectly straight lines. At first, they thought someone had planted them, but it turned out to be the patrol trail of the maned wolf. Every step it takes leaves behind a green legacy for the future. The estimated 50-year timeline for full recovery has been rejected by field evidence. The latest monitoring data at Emas National Park confirms that areas with the presence of maned wolves need exactly 5 years to completely change their appearance. Why is there such a massive difference from 50 years down to 5 years? The answer lies in the trophic cascade effect. When Lobeira trees grow, they do not stand alone. Their deep root systems begin breaking apart soil compacted by mechanization. They retain moisture, attract insects, then birds and small mammals such as pampas deer or giant anteaters. The Lobeira tree is known as a pioneer species. It creates shade, reducing the ground surface temperature by up to 5 degrees Celsius, allowing more sensitive native grass species a chance to take root. The latest field reports show that in areas where maned wolves are active, plant biodiversity increases by 300% after only 3 rainy seasons. Researchers at the Leibniz Institute made an impressive economic calculation to manually reforest land in Brazil. The cost ranges from $1,500 to $3,000 per hectare. Each wolf individual plays the role of an important coordinating factor in a large-scale ecosystem reconstruction project without requiring an operating budget. However, this creature is facing many dangers because its habitat is being divided by transportation infrastructure cutting across the grassland. This is the dark side of the story. Although the maned wolf is trying to save the grassland, humans are accidentally or deliberately stopping that recovery. Every year, hundreds of wolves die from traffic collisions on roads bordering soybean plantations. Livestock farms still hunt them because of a mistaken belief that wolves will attack cattle. Even though the jaw structure of the maned wolf is designed more for eating mice and fruit than for chasing large prey. The rate of individual loss from traffic collisions is the greatest challenge facing conservation efforts today. Losing one adult individual will interrupt the potential seed dispersal chain and directly affect the recovery capacity of dozens of hectares of grassland. Experts are proposing the construction of safe corridors to protect these natural regeneration agents. Another important biological trait is the scent from the pyrazine compound in their urine. This chemical signal is so strong that it sometimes causes confusion among residents in areas near the grassland. However, it is the core component for maintaining territorial boundaries and ensuring the stability of the entire ecological system. This distinctive chemical composition once drew attention from authorities because of its scent similarity to certain controlled compounds. But in the natural environment, it is an essential biological signal for establishing order and maintaining balance among animal populations. Scientists have discovered that when pyrazine concentration in the environment decreases because the wolf population is fragmented, the social order of the grassland is overturned. Rodent species begin to explode in population, destroying newly grown seedlings and paralyzing the natural recovery process. This distinctive scent is actually an essential biological signal for maintaining order across the entire ecosystem. If this signal disappears, the maned wolf population will gradually go extinct. And without this wolf, the natural water regulation cycle of the entire South American continent will be completely stalled. The story from the Cerrado grassland is not only about one wolf. It is proof that an ecosystem is not a static picture, but a network of dramatic relationships. We often think of conservation as building fences or planting trees in straight rows. But the maned wolf teaches us that true recovery comes from nature's complex and intelligent interactions. A tiny ant and a solitary wolf can do better than any international climate change protocol, as long as they are left alone to carry out their instincts. Real-world data shows that when native species are allowed to maintain their natural instincts, the ecosystem will find the most optimal recovery solution on its own. The revival of the Cerrado does not depend on expensive technology, but on respecting long-standing biological connections. The lesson from the long-legged wolf reminds us that sometimes the most effective way to protect the environment is to reduce human intervention. An animal with a strange scent, unusually long legs, and a stomach full of acid is doing what billions of United States dollars could not do. It is silently sowing life into desolation. In the future, if you see a pair of long legs stepping through the grasslands, know that it is not just an animal searching for food. It is the final hope of a continent. It is the greatest gardener nature has ever created. The Cerrado is still under threat, and roads are still endangering the last wolf individuals. But every cluster of Lobeira trees growing on an ant nest mound is a milestone marking revival. Do not forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the greatest ecosystem restoration battles on this planet. This world does not only have collapse, it also has silent counterattacks. See you again on the next journey to decode mysteries.